What a day at Shah 10 this Sunday. It's Hong Kong International Races for Longines. Welcome to the race by race preview. Paul Lally is here for races that aren't group races. Paul will be joined by Maddy Playle from the Racing Post in London to talk about the 4 Group 1s as well. You'll find them on the website. But the first race, it's an early start. It's at 12:25 on the A course, and it's a Class 4 over the 1200 metres. Happy Golf's last 3 runs have been at Happy Valley. Phoenix Lights on the class drop. Hood off, the blinkers go on the first time. Co-partner Prance is on debut. Fighting Machine wears a shadow roll following a 5th at his first start. First starters Spicy Gold and Storm Rider. Texas Moon has the tongue tie going on. Around the globe, crossover noseband on tongue tie re-added as well. And Lucky Planet raced wide last time at Happy Valley. Much better draw for him this week. Chuchao Brothers in this race, Paul. His best form is in Class 5. He does like to press forward, but we've shown or seen speed from Gorgeous Win as well.
Yeah, look, but he didn't lead in a recent trial. But Chuchao Brother, as you say, but he leads over 1650, 1600 and 1400. He hasn't really led over 1200. That's why I thought Gorgeous Win might take that position. Hong Kong Hall can lead. Round the Globe's led in the past as well, but he's led off really slow pace before as well. The tongue tie will go on him, and they did have the dynamic scope on him as well, so they have checked his breathing recently. Spicy Gold's on debut. I think he'll go back from what I've seen and drawn wide.
We start with the debut of Gorgeous Win. He led for home at Shah 10, and there he is. He ends up getting run down here. The race won by Raging Blizzard. He runs later on the program. He's also been back to the trials. Much better draw, though. He had 10 on debut in this.
Had to work to get across, but there was a lot of money for him on this debut run. He was at 4.4, so there was a lot of confidence around him, and he was clear there with the 200 to go. Raging Blizzard is very progressive, and he is a horse that will be racing in a stronger race later in the card. Strathpether next to him has come out and run really well once again. Strong form race, and I think the horse is going really well. Now, the query is, will he lead, will he trail? I don't think it'll matter.
OK, that is Gorgeous Win, our first replay. The second one features Patch of Watch, who's just buried away there on the inside at this stage. Christophe Soumillon in town to ride him for Jimmy Ting. Went off at 8.3, beaten 2 3/4, and just wanted to run around a little bit at stages.
Yeah, you see him, he had to come off heels here as well, just a little bit green on debut. I think he would have learned a lot coming off this, and there, just see where he couldn't get out when he really wanted to. So he had lost his momentum. He finished off really well. So I think Patch of Time is definitely a chance. He comes in my numbers.
OK, that is him in the yellow, blue and white colours there. Certainly an excuse with that check that he copped at about the 200 metres also. One of the first starters is Storm Rider for David Hayes. Derek Long will take the ride on him. He's been well schooled. David's given him 5 trials. This is the last start of those trials, won a second behind Golden Long. Yeah, it was a good trial, and he's actually won the trial previous to this. He actually won as well, so he is capable, and he's showing a bit of speed in these trials. I'm going to include him in his debut run here on Sunday. I think the horse is going really well. That's a good push for a first starter in Storm Rider. So he's in. Where is he in? Going to go in as a Quinella horse, actually. I'm going to put him in second, behind Gorgeous Win. I thought it was a really good debut run for him. Patch of Time in there for third, we saw him. And one we haven't seen, but it's been very consistent down on the weights, is Lucky Planet, drawn nicely in barrier 3, an informed stable of Douglas White and Karis Teeton aboard, coming off a couple of Happy Valley runs, 6, 10, 8 and 13. Paul with the trainer of Romantic Warrior, Danny Shum, to win the first with Gorgeous Win, and the rider of Lucky Swainess, Zach Purton, to partner him to victory in race number 1. Race number 2, we need to drag in the withdrawal graphic here because out is Romantic Hero. There were a few double looks when that came through in the word romantic, but it was Hero, not Warrior, fortunately, and Romantic Hero has been replaced by Poe on Way. Fun and Glory is on the class drop, as is Jumbo Fortune. 80 Light Years running second behind Lost Child last time, but a wider draw. Ariel has the blinkers off and the cheek pieces on. Star Club last start winner carries an extra £7 for it. Fancy Star steps up in trip. We've got Commanding Missile with the blinkers off. Massive Talent wears cheek pieces for the first time, and Bold Prince is minus a hood as he drops back from the 1600 metres. The pace here, Paul, with massive talent rolling to the lead. We know he and Hero Icon both have pace. 80 light years doing it tough. Aerial from a decent draw gets a good run.
Yeah, I think he will. And look, he's led in the past, but he's been taking cover recently. And Massive Talent ran really well when he went forward last time. Last start winner Star Club should get a really nice run. And Winning Data, who's another last start winner, he's on the improve as well. He shouldn't be too far away. Fun and Glory. Back to Bold Prince, Jumbo Fortune. Circuit 9 can be a little bit iffy at the start, but I think he'll be back and running on.
He's in our first replay is Circuit 9, as is Aerial, who raced wide and fades down the straight. G-Liner runs 5th and 80 light years finishes second here, Paul. He comes up with barrier number 10. The man on board is riding really well, Jerry Chow, and he partners him for a stable that he's having good success with in Benoyong.
Yeah, I liked him this day, but I don't like him in this because of the barrier draw, basically. So I think he could be trapped a little bit wide. 80 light years. It was a really good run by Circuit 9. His last couple of runs for Cody Moe have both been very good. Zach Purton will jump aboard, so I think he's a chance. G-Liner was in the cusp for me. He hasn't done too much on race day. This is probably the best we've seen of him, finishing 5th in those green colours.
That's a wrap-up of the first replay. The second one has Star Club, and there he is in the centre. This was his first start for David Hall. It was 1,200 metres. What about the extra weight for him and the extra distance too? Yeah,
so there's a little bit harder for that. I think the distance isn't too much of a problem for him. He's drawn nicely in barrier 5. He should get a good run, and he showed a really good turn of foot here. Brendan Abdullah rode him here. He's going to ride him once again on Sunday. He goes in for me. I think he's a horse going nicely at the moment.
And that is Star Club winning in the Wellington colours in the second of the day. You were with this horse last time, Winning Data. You still use the old dot matrix printer, so has it printed out the Winning Data again for this horse and might get you to upgrade to a laser next time?
Yeah, no, probably not, because I've still got my Atari as well. But look, I thought Winning Data, he'd been leading up to this run, was a really good second prior when he ran at Happy Valley. He couldn't get a run. You can see him going out, and then Karras had to go back to the inside. Once he got back to the inside there, he really stretched out nicely. I think there's more to come for this horse. He's a horse that has been learning. It's just starting to put it all together, and I can see him winning this race once again. So I look, that last little 100, he just really took off once he got into the clear. I think something similar could happen on Sunday. All
right, so the 1974 Pong champion from Mataranaki, who do you like?
Yeah, I'm with him, actually, Winning Data. It's hopefully that he can win. He's on top. Circuit 9 with the keyboard theme there. He goes in there for second. Star Club and Massive Talent in there for fourth, who did try and lead all the way at his last start. 9, 7, 5 and 11. And back to you, Pac-Man.
Thank you very much, Paul. And it's Karras Teaton and Ricky Yu to win race number 2. Race number 3 precedes the first of the Group 1s, and the third is a Class 3 over the 1,400 metres, and Superb Boy has won 2 from 3 course and distance. Prime Minister has the tongue tie going back on. Temra Blitz only an extra £2 for a very dominant win last time. Beauty Crescent's never raced past 1,200 metres until this race on Sunday, where he steps up to the 1,400. Amazing Victory is very honest. Choo Chow Spirits had 2 starts for Manfred for 2 placings. Accolade Start's been back to the trials since a debut which saw him finish down the track. Global Harmony up in trip. Capital Light's best form so far has been at Happy Valley. Lost Child up in grade following a win over the 1,400 on the 19th of November. The speed map, Paul, has Superb Boy leading. Temra Blitz maybe not going to get that cushy run in behind with Ready to Win taking that spot, but he is racing well, Temra Blitz.
He is racing really well. Look, there's no leader in this race. Superb Boy does like to go forward, and he's drawn 12. I just wonder if Vincent's going to take the bull by the horns and go forward and lead. If he doesn't, I mean, Temra Blitz hasn't led in the past, so it's unlikely he will. Ready to Win hasn't led in the past. Can't see Simple Heads leading. Lost Child. So I don't think there's going to be a pace in this race. And there's something that hasn't led in the past, like Beauty Crescent pushes on. I think Superb Boy might get to the front.
That might make it hard for the runner-up to Temra Blitz last time. Let's Do It, who's back in that speed map, as is Choo Chow Spirit. But Temra Blitz, very good, Paul, and only a couple of extra pounds. Simple Hedge had an excuse, he raced wide, but I thought his trial was only fair since.
Yeah, it was. Look, I just wonder if he's a sort of horse that does save himself for race day. We'll find out. He got a little bit crowded there as well, and Look, he finished off all right, and I think he'll come on for this run. As you mentioned, good run from Let's Do It, good run from Choo Choo Spirit, and also the winner, Tamara Blitz. So, look, they did finish in a bit of a bunch, so I just wonder what sort of the form's going to be like.
Antoine Hemlin rides Tamara Blitz, and he's been racking up the winners in the last month or 6 weeks. Second replay is Beauty Crescent running 6th in Global Harmony. Well, he always does this. He gets back and he charges home. Extra furlong has to be a plus, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does. Look, I quite like this horse. They didn't go overly fast, and they might not in this one either. But from barrier 7, maybe he can try and get himself one place closer. He drew 12 last time, and he just finished off really strongly. Now, the horse that wins this race, I Give, he just keeps winning. So it's a really strong form race. Tornado Phantom came out and ran pretty well the other day as well. So I thought it was a really good run from him.
That's a nice report for Global Harmony there in those orange colours. Capital Delight, here he is at Happy Valley, which at this stage, Paul, has been where his best form is. Would you prefer him at the City Circuit? Or do you think in this field he might be able to turn things around? Does have Joe Marira, but also does have Barrier 13.
Yeah, look, his last 3 runs have all been really good, and they were at Happy Valley. Prior to that, he did run from Barrier 13 here at Charlton and didn't go so well. So, look, yeah, I do prefer him at the Valley. That's the thing for him. But, look, we'll see if he can bring that form here.
But at this stage, maybe save him for a Wednesday night. Good field this, who do you like? Yeah,
a really good field. I'm going to go with the 9 on top here, and that's Global Harmony. Simple Hedge for second. Now, Superb Boy, if he gets across all right, which I think he can be a hard horse to run down. And Choo Choo Spirit will need a bit of pace on, but I think he can run on there for 4th. 9-7-1-6.
And that is a preview for race number 3 on this massive day of racing coming up at Charlton on Sunday. Group 1 racing starts on race number 4, and pleased to say with so many European horses in Hong Kong this year, we've brought a European expert in to give us Maddy's thoughts on the 4 Group 1s from the Racing Post. Hello, Maddy Playle.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
The Europeans, plenty of them in town. How strong is the team from up your way this year?
I think there's certainly a lot of depth. Aidan O'Brien said that he's brought one of his strongest team over, but at the same time I think the Japanese in the last couple of years have dominated this meeting and certainly gone very well, and I definitely think they're going to get a couple of winners on the board, but I could see us getting some places for sure. All
right, we'll hear what your thoughts are and selections are soon. Paul obviously still here as he has been for the first 3 races, but we're going to crack straight in now. So the first of the Group 1s, it is the Longines Hong Kong Vase, 2:10 local as post time, and Junko is at the top of the book. Senor Toba, one of the locals, Zafiro. Damien Lane winning the race with Win Marilyn last year. 5G patch for Hong Kong, China. West Wind Blows, narrow defeat in the Caulfield Cup on a trip home from Australia. Then Geraldina and Lebenstiel from Japan. And Warm Heart right down the bottom for Ryan Moore, doing 1:17, possibly a couple over for Aidan O'Brien. The speed here, Paul, and Junko straight to the top.
Well, look, he led last time over a small field. There was only 4 in it. There's a couple of other possibilities. Senor Toba is one of those because he's led over this distance before. Westwind Blows can go forward as well. Just depends how he jumps, because he didn't jump too well in his races in Australia. Warm Heart, I don't think she'll want to lead, but I think she'll be close up. Safiro, Lebenstiel, Geraldina, the Japanese horses like to get back. We know 5G Patch, Last City Barnes, they're definite back runners.
Well, you're going to start with the toppy in the book. That is Junko winning in Germany last time, Maddy. He's no stranger to travelling. He's raced in Germany, France, and even made a trip to Dubai earlier in the year.
Yes, he ran well out in Dubai. The thing to note with this horse is he's got quite a pronounced knee action. If you watch him here, he brings his knee up quite high, and I think that's been a little bit of a concern for me this week, if he's going to be suited to the really quick Charlton track. But he's a very honest horse. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, as you say, Paul, very close indeed in terms of making the pace. And I've put him in my selections. I think he's going to run an honest race.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, so most of his runs have been on the wet tracks, but he's only had one to start on a good track. So you can't say he doesn't like it, you know, because of only that one run. So look, I can see where you're coming from there, definitely, yeah.
Locals in this replay, Paul, it is the running of the BOC HK Jockey Club Cup at Group 2. Our best stayer in Hong Kong, Russian Emperor, is not here. It's going to take career best from these horses in Hong Kong to win this race, isn't it?
I'd be very surprised if any of the Hong Kong horses do feature here. This is not really our go, the Vase. You can see that over the years. I mean, dominant and Exultant. The only two have won it in the last 10 years. So, look, a really, a nice run here. But, this form compared to the European horses and the Japanese horses, I think they're going to struggle.
All right, that is the first of the Hong Kong replays. We'll move on to the Japanese runner now, Maddy in Zafiro. This is a Group 2 win last time. It was over 2,500 metres, so the distance is no concern on Sunday.
Yeah, he's gone under the radar a little bit at track work this week, and we could regret that actually, because we know how strong Japan have been in this race historically, and as you can see here, he shows a great attitude to come in between horses and finishes his race off really nicely. I guess the one thing I'd say is if you're looking for a horse who's probably going to come from slightly far back, it may not get the fast pace that he's after. But he showed a good turn of foot there to make distance late on, and he's progressing nicely.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he has gone under the radar quite a bit here, and he has proven over the distance. Look, we've seen the second-tier Japanese horses come to Hong Kong before and do that and perform really well. Look, I think at the odds, he could be one to definitely take a look at.
West Wind blows a stopover on the way home, Paul. This is his second in the Caulfield Cup to without a fight. Of course, without a fight going on to win the Melbourne Cup after this. Was ridden in front the Champion Stakes last time. What about this race on Sunday? We're expecting to see him. I know we've seen the speed map already. Yeah,
no, exactly. I just thought he could be close up, but just a lot depends on the jump with him. I mean, he could easily lead. He has done in the past, but he ran better there when he came from behind, I thought. And look, he's been working well since he's been here.
I've really liked what I've seen from him. As you say, that form's been boosted by without a fight winning the Melbourne Cup, and since he's been gelded, that's been the real transformation with this horse. His attitude has just totally changed. He's very versatile. I think he will go forward actually if he breaks on terms, and yeah, I think at a price he's definitely one to keep on side because he's just building towards a nice start now.
All right, that is a good report for West Wind Blows. Back to Japan we go now. Maddy and Geraldine are running fifth in this race. This was the QE2 Cup for the fillies and mares over the 2,200 metres. She's untested at 1.5 miles though.
She is, she's been busy, she's fairly exposed at the very, very top level, but she performs well on her day and we know what she's capable of. I think there might be stronger Japanese horses running elsewhere on the card though.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and look, she's been here before and has performed only fairly, I thought. So, look, yeah, I agree. I think that the other Japanese might be the ones to look at.
All right, and this one, Paul, is Lebensteel, which is being tipped by plenty of people as the best of all the Japanese horses here this year, or the best chance at least.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of talk about him, and look, you can see why. He's like an unexposed young horse. This is over the 2,200 metres, so you'd expect 2,400 metres will be no problems. Joe Moreira is going to ride him. He knows Shartin so well, and look, it was an impressive win here.
I love this performance at Nakayama, Grade 2, beating the Japanese 2,000 guineas winner Sol Oriens. He just strikes me as a horse who is peaking at the right time. He's going to improve for the distance, I think. I just think he's perfect for this race. Joe Moreira on board will give him an edge, given that he knows the track so well. He's the strongest bet of the day for me, Lebensteel.
All right, so that's a very strong push from Maddy for Lebensteel. What about Warm Heart, one of Aidan's runners here? She was off to the US in this replay. It's the Breeders' Cup filly and mare Turf, coming to Shartin, and of course she's going to have to go the other direction.
She is. I don't think that would necessarily be a problem. She's had a wonderful season and these conditions and this race is always bound to suit her, given how well she goes on fast ground. She does travel very strongly in the mid part of her race. And this was a very strong edition of this race. Inspiral is an absolute super filly in Europe. So there was no disgrace in going down by a distance to her. And yeah, we're going to see what she can do. I think she's bound to run a decent race.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the leading chances, and you know, she comes in well at the weights. Ryan Moore's going to try and get down to that weight. We'll see how close he does get. He might have to put a couple of pounds over, but look, she's definitely one of the major chances, and younger horses have got such a good record in this race.
Stablemate won it in 2020 when Mogul bolted him for Ryan Moore and of course Aidan O'Brien. That is the breakdown of the replays for the Vars. Maddy, we know who you're with. You're a Lebensteel fan.
I am, yes. I'm a really big fan of this horse. I just thought the style of victory last time was perfect. He's training really well. I've liked what I've seen from him on the track this week. West Wind blows another who I think could be crucial to the setup in this race. And then Warm Heart, you can't not include her given the form that she's shown in the Breeders' Cup. And Junko, who you mentioned right at the top, I think he can get involved. Again, I don't think he's going to be too far away from a pace perspective.
Okay, and I'm going to go with one that we talked about earlier that we might think have just gone under the radar a little bit. It's Zafiro. Again, a 3-year-old on the up, never finished further back than 4th, and did win nicely over 2,500 metres. Lebanstill's is going to be very hard to beat. So I think it's a Japanese Quinella for me. He's in there for second. Warm Heart, look for Ireland as well. She's going to get a perfect run just in behind, and then West Wind Blows coming back from Australia. So 3, 8, 9 and 5 for me.
It's a Japan win in the Vase, which has so often been the case, but different colours winning. It's Livestream for Maddy and Paul with Zafiro to win the first of the 4. The second of the Group 1 races is the sprint. 1,200 metres is the distance, and Lucky Swayness headlines the field here. Start time is 10 minutes to 3 local, and he had no luck in this race last year. Wellington did, because he won it last year, and Jamie Richards has put the blinkers on for the first time. Mad Cool off a second in the Sprinters Stakes. Sight Success. He was second to Wellington in 2022 in this race. Better last time Victor the winner after pulling hard first up. Esot's Fable, another good draw. Barrier number 1 for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Jasper Crone for Japan. Lucky With You comes to Group 1 racing for the first time. And the mare, Highfield Princess for John Quinn from Great Britain. Last start winner over the 1,000 at Longchamp. And she's having start number 39 in her career in this race, Paul, but unfortunately did draw the outside gate. Victor the winner, Jasper Crone the lead pair.
Yeah, they like to go forward. Victor the winner's drawn inside, Jasper Crone, so he's going to get a good run there. Wellington with a really good draw, he's going to get a nice one. Now, Lucky Swayness has been slightly slow away. If he is slightly slow away, that could benefit either Highfield Princess or Mad Cool can move in, or even Sight Success, and Mad Cool can drop in behind Sight Success. So there's options for those horses. Lucky With You and Jukwai, we know they go, but they generally go back. So yeah, just those barrier 4, 5, or 5, 6, and 7. We'll see what happens with those 3.
We'll have more from Maddy and Paul in just a moment. Firstly, though, at the barrier draw, which was conducted on Thursday, Nick spoke to the new trainer, having his second start now for Jamie Richards.
Jamie Richards, it's a massive weekend of racing coming up here in Hong Kong, and a huge one for you, of course. You've got Wellington lining up in the sprint. Here we are at the barrier draw. He's got gate 3. How happy are you with where he's berthed?
Yeah, I think it's should suit him well. Hopefully, he's going to get a bit of cover from there, and hopefully they go along at a genuine tempo, and he gets his chance. But didn't want to draw too far in and didn't want to draw too far out, so no complaints.
You've inherited, Jamie, of course, a world-class sprinter, a top sprinter here in Hong Kong. That goes without saying. He's last year's winner of this race. How has he been since he's joined you? Obviously, he's done so much before, and I'm sure you're hoping he can do a lot more still to come.
Yeah, for sure. He's obviously arrived in great order from Richard Gibson upon his retirement from training here in Hong Kong, and very thankful to the owners for the opportunity to train the horse. He's had a good, easy preparation. He ran well first up, and it's just been a matter of keeping him happy and ticking him over for the last sort of 3 weeks leading into the race. He had a little stretch of the legs down the back straight on Monday morning and worked along nicely, and just did a bit of sort of easy maintenance work again this morning, and everything seems to be in order. He's happy and healthy, and hopefully has a little bit of luck in running, and he can show everybody that he's still got it.
And there he is, Jamie Richards. And Maddy, he's going to appear in our first replay here is Wellington. And there he is, third on the inside. He had the perfect trip. Victor the winner second. Where's Lucky Swayness at in your eyes? Because he hasn't shown the dash in the straight that we saw from him, say, last season.
He hasn't. I found this race the trickiest of all the Group 1s to assess, if I'm honest, but I still ended up putting Lucky Swayness on top. I think, as you say, he came into this race last year in better shape, and he was terribly unlucky. He only finished 6th behind Wellington. If he would have got out that day, I think he probably would have won. Impossible to tell. Here, as you see, it's a different style of winning to what we'd previously seen from Lucky Swayness, just getting the better of Victor the winner late on. I think Victor the winner is the one who's going to get the ideal trip this time around. He's got a great draw. He's going to go forward. Wellington's not badly drawn either. Could just be a case of who's going to turn up on the day. Lucky Swayness, he's not been winning and looking as explosive as he had previously, but ultimately he is still winning. and I think he's the one to beat.
Okay, what about you, Paul?
Yeah, no, I've definitely got him in as well. I think he's one of the leading chances. I think Wellington, he'll come on so much from that run as well. So both those two are really good chances.
I thought Wellington almost raced as if it was a trial, and he'd come on for it. So I'm interested in him with the blinkers on.
Yeah, blinkers on the first time is an interesting call as well.
It is indeed. So that's the Hong Kong form. Japan form here, Paul, and you're a little bit keen on Mad Cool. Jasper Krone, not a whole lot of Jasper Krone, but attached to the rail there, turning for home and trying to kick on.
Well, he's going to put himself in the right place, Jasper Krone, but he was run down fair and square here by Mad Cool, and I just like the way he really accelerated. He was only beaten a nose here in one of the top sprints here in Japan. We know how good these Japanese horses are, and the bob just didn't go his way. So he's worked really well since he's been here. He's done one of the quickest times down the straight, 21 and a bit of change as well. So we saw Lord Kanaloa come here, and he did that 3 times in a week. Mad Cool's only done it once, but he's looked good, so I think he's a leading chance.
A Japanese figure in your numbers, Maddy?
I'm not too sure, no.
Okay, so that is the Japan form. US form, a horse you do know well, though, is Aesop's Fable, and he's going to represent Aidan O'Brien in this race, and here he is at Santa Anita last time.
Yeah, he's a fascinating horse because he's been tried over a range of trips, and Aidan O'Brien's taken some time to get to know him. He spoke about this in the press conference a couple of days ago. We see him here with the blinkers on. He's a really strong finisher, and if you see him at track work in the mornings, he's a big, powerful horse who's really starting to come into his own. I think these conditions are going to suit him, but I think this is a big ask in a race of this depth. I think the local horses hold all the aces at the moment, and he does have to reverse the Prix de l'Abbé form with Highfield Princess.
You said he likes to get back. Is barrier number 1 maybe not a good thing for him then?
I don't necessarily think so. No, I think it's going to be difficult for Rymore. He could come into traffic problems. The blinkers, I do think, have made a big difference to him, though.
All right, and finally, he's in this replay here too, Paul, so if you want to touch on Aesop's Fable, and a Highfield Princess is a great story. Yeah,
look, a great story of Highfield Princess, rags to riches for her, and look, she's definitely got the wood on him in this particular race, and look, this is over 1,000 metres, the 5 furlongs. It's 1,200 metres here, the 6 furlong race, and that was just my little query with Aesop's Fables. But look, she's run well. The barrier draw, that's the only thing that put me off her.
Barrier number 9, Maddy. She does have early pace, but you did say off camera that she doesn't necessarily need to lead.
She doesn't. John Quinn said that to me all along. The thing about Highfield Princess is she's so adaptable. She doesn't have to go forward. She likes any ground. She's very tough. You see at the end of the race there, her tenacity really came into play, and I think ultimately that's what's won her many races and a legion of fans as well. So I'd be delighted if she could finish in the top 3 or 4, but I do think from her draw it's going to be a big ask.
She's up from the 1,000 to the 1,200 also. Is that okay by her racing style?
Absolutely, yes. She won the Prix Maurice de Geest last summer over trip further, so should be no issues for her whatsoever. In fact, I think it will suit her in these conditions.
Well, it's selection time now on the sprint, and you're sticking with Sweynesse, Maddy.
I am, yeah. It's Lucky Sweynesse on top for me. I think he should have won this race last year, and although he's not been quite as impressive for the last couple of starts, he's the best Hong Kong has to offer. Victor, the winner, I think he's the one who's going to get the perfect trail through. We've seen him improving all year, and Wellington, an interesting run last time. Last year's winner, he's sure to be on the premises. If you want one at a likely bigger price, I think Sight Success could go well. He's a horse who has bits and pieces of form. He actually beat Lucky Sweynesse, although he was getting quite a lot of weight that day earlier on this campaign. So he's one to keep an eye on.
I'm going to go with the Japanese to beat the Hong Kong horse. He's following the same pattern through as Denon Smash did when he won here, and that's Mad Cool. I've really liked his gallops during the week, so I'll go with him to beat Lucky Sweynesse. Just hasn't shown that explosiveness that he showed last season. Wellington will come on so much from his run, and look, I'm going to put Jasper Krone in. Now, Jasper Krone raced in the Breeders' Cup, and he went left-handed, and he was on the wrong foot, and it just went horribly wrong. We saw him run a close-up 4th to Mad Cool in the race previous, so I just wanted to sneak him in on a very minor line. So Japanese and Hong Kong for me, 3-1-2-8.
And that is the preview for the second of the Group 1s. Maddy's going to step out because Paul takes most of our budget, so we can only pay Maddy for 4 races for the race-by-race preview. We'll have race number 6 and Maddy back for race number... Race number 6, Maddy has stepped out. We go back to a Class 3 for this one. Maddy having a pina colada will join us again for race number 7. Could have been a gin and tonic, because this is the gin and tonic handicap. Missed opportunity there. Awesome Flukes on a 7-day backup, but carries extra weight. Ensued carries an extra 7 pounds after his last start win. Silver King is up in trip. Enigma has his first start in Hong Kong. He won 3 times in Italy, all in Rome, 1800, 2000, 2100. Universal Horizon races well first up. Romantic Charm blinkers off, the visor goes on. CP Brave is coming back in trip. SJ Torbian, cheek pieces and the shadow roller off, the blinkers are re-added. And Circuit Mighty has his first time over 1800 metres. Full field of 14 here, Paul, and Silver King, who on debut ran third at 6.1, beaten the neck, leads Universal Horizon. Will have the speed to get across from 14, you think?
That's the thing. He might just have to work a little bit to get across. Thought Circuit Mighty can get a lovely run just in behind. Big Red won't be far away. CP Brave. Nicholson's return will probably have to go back. Sort of ran out of room with these horses because I think they're going to all have to go back with a good to slow pace expected here. Billionaire Secret. Enigma, I was a little bit puzzled on what to do with him, but he went back as well. So I think Silver King should get a nice run in front.
Can't you shrink them?
No,
or are they just
no, they can't.
standard? You can't just drag and shrink?
No.
All right. Here's Brenton Abdallah. He's looking for another win on Ensued, and he spoke to Nick.
Brenton, Ensued is a ride that you've got on the weekend for trainer John Size. Unbeaten, 2 from 2 so far. You've ridden him most recently, and he was very impressive.
Yeah, he did a good job. It was obviously a strongly run race with Pierre's horse bowling there on speed. And on the point of the bend, I thought he was a winner, and then he hit a bit of a flat spot, but then to his credit, he knuckled down and moved strongly late and ran right through the line. So he's back in distance, but he's drawn well. You know, he'll be somewhere just behind the speed there on Sunday, and again, I think he's going to take a good improvement.
I wanted to ask you about the distance, because he did, of course, win over this course and distance on his debut. You then won on him over 1.25 miles. He clearly is a horse that stays well. No sort of detriment to his chance coming back in trip. Did you feel he's a strong stayer?
Yeah, I think he's a strong stayer, so I think, you know, obviously 1.25 miles plus is going to suit him really well. So a genuinely run 1800 will probably be in his best interest, but he's a horse who hasn't got a brilliant turn of speed on him, but he just sort of sustains his gallop, and I'm sure on Sunday, if he gets things to go his way, he'll be right there again. You would have, I'm sure, had a glance at the form. I dare say you'll have a bit more to do before the weekend. But Awesome Fluke, Silver King, would they look to be perhaps the biggest dangers? I mean, some of these horses now that are emerging that we haven't seen a great deal of are looking pretty smart and building up to what could be a competitive year next year. Yeah, I know Awesome Fluke pretty well from Australia. I rode him a few times, so I know what he can do. He's obviously a WA Derby winner, and I had a lot of luck with his trainer back in Australia, John O'Shea, so I know him fairly well. And a horse like Silver King, he looks pretty talented. You know, he obviously rolled on speed the other day, but James trialled him the other day. He looked nice. So he's definitely one that looks like he's going to be progressive.
And Brendan, just finally, you're involved in international races. Slight success is the horse you're going to ride in the sprint, but your book of rides on the undercard does look strong. So you must be sort of full of excitement and anticipation going into Sunday.
Yeah, it's obviously a very big day of the year, and looking forward to participating. And I'm pretty fortunate that the 4 I won on are all sort of backing up again this week. So obviously the races are probably a fraction harder, bigger fields, and they were up in their ratings a little bit more. So they're going to need to be at their best, and I'm going to have to ride them well. But we'll see what we can do. It's obviously a great day to have some nice rides.
Brenton Abdallah looking to go boom, boom, back-to-back wins on Ensued in race number 6. On we go, Paul, to Awesome Fluke. This wasn't too long ago. It was last weekend, in fact. First start in Hong Kong. He steps up from the 1400 to the 1800, which won't be a problem because he did win over that trip at Hawkesbury. Yeah,
it was a really good run here as well. He got a nice run through on the rail. He's got to come up to the 1800, but as you say, he's proven over it before. It's just how he backs up, really, over the 7 days. And Casper wouldn't start him if he wasn't happy with him. Finished off really nicely. So, look, I've included him. I think he can run well once again.
Joe Moreira on board. He goes out from barrier 3 to barrier 6 for race number 6. Our final replay is Silver King, who had plenty of wraps on him, and this is his debut in Hong Kong. It was over the 1600 metres, so he jumps to the 1800. He did win the 2000 Waikato Guineas over further, so the extra distance is no problem for him either.
Exactly, he's might turn me loose, so further the better for him, up to 2000 anyway. Look, it was a slowly run race this, so he was entitled to stay on, but it was his debut run and he should come on from it. So, look, I think he's definitely a chance. Beauty Fit's been racing really well recently, so he was only beaten in the shadows of the post. He might have been flattered by the slow pace, but I'm going to include him.
All right. This is a look at the breakdown for race number 6, but you're going long here, and we'll have your long shot, play and best bet for race 10. So if you want to see them from Paul, make sure you keep going to the race 10 preview.
Going to go with the horse here, Circuit Mighty. Now this horse steps up to 1,800 metres for the first time. He should get the perfect trail and race really well, Circuit Mighty. So I think he can win first time over the distance, and as you say, hopefully we'll get a bit of a price bet him. And Shude's 2 from 2. Silver King in there for third. He's a horse that just comes off that slow pace last time, and we saw an awesome fluke as well. So each way about the 12, 2, 3, 1.
Should be a good price. Race 6, number 12, Circuit Mighty. Paul's on top selection for the midpoint pause of the 4 Group 1s. Race number 7 spins up now. This is the preview for the mile upcoming. Maddy, you've rejoined us again at just the right time. Golden 60 draws barrier number 14. You were no doubt at the barrier draw on Thursday morning, and there was a gasp from the crowd.
There was. It's the big story. Of course, we haven't seen him since April. An 8-year-old now. This is getting towards his swan song. He's been a magnificent horse for Hong Kong over the last couple of seasons. But this is going to be a big ask. And with him, we don't know how much ability is left.
We do not. He is unbeaten first up, but he is racing race-fit horses. California Spangle, who beat him in this race last year, is horse number 2. For Japan, Down on the Kid and Zerafos and Soul Rush. Tribalist for France. Beauty Eternal's a last start winner where he had the race absolutely tailor-made run to suit. Beauty Joy ran a narrow second to him. For Singapore, Lims Kosciuszko, Voyage Bubble, last season's Derby winner. And we go down to the visitors, Cairo, Namur and Davina. So the other thing to consider for Golden 60, Paul, is it's a full field, something that he's sparsely raced against.
He has, and look, I didn't know what to do. I don't think they'll know what to do. They're going to have to go back, I think, because he's just going to get caught wide, fresh up. That's the last thing you want to do. So I think he's just going to have to bide his time and come from the back. California Spangle, look, he's led in just about every start. Tribalist looks like a leader as well. So they're going to set up a good pace here. Cairo's gone forward in a few of his recent races. Voyage Bubble races forward. And Counter's going to get a really good run. If he's good enough, he'll get his opportunity. Likewise, Beauty Eternal. Lims Kosciuszko, he led last time over 2,000, but back to a mile, I think he'll probably settle midfield.
We start with an interview that Nick conducted with the rider of the French visitor Tribalist. It is Mikhail Barcelona.
Mikhail, great to see you in Hong Kong as always, and obviously a big meeting coming up. You've got 2 very nice rides in both the mile and the cup. Let's start with Tribalist for Andre Fabre. He's a horse who's had plenty of racing, but he looks to be progressing really well.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very tough horse. He's now mature, and I think he'll become very competitive on Sunday.
Obviously, Mikhail, you'd be fully aware that it won't be an easy task. There's some very good horses in the race, of course, notably Golden 60 and Co. and the Japanese. But with your horse, given the level of improvement, was this always the plan between yourself and Andre and Godolphin that you might well come here at the end of the year?
Well, to be fair, I don't know what the connection was going to do with him, but he had a pretty busy season at the beginning. Then he had a long break during the summer. He just had to run right now, and he's in very good shape. And I probably think that's why he's coming to extend a little bit his season in Hong Kong.
It's noticeable that obviously the majority of his form in France is on sort of more testing conditions. Would you have any sort of reservations, sort of perhaps getting onto better ground come Sunday?
No, really. He raced very well on the firm ground in Shanty just before he got his break. So no, he's a very polyvalent horse, very straightforward. So I just expect him to run his best on Sunday.
I imagine for you as a rider, you're very closely attached to Godolphin. It'd be nice to get those royal blue silks back in the winners' enclosure in Hong Kong. It's been a little while at the international meeting.
Yeah, exactly. It's never easy to win the big race there, and hopefully I'll be able to do good for them.
There is Mikhail Barcelona, Tribalist. Maddy ideally wants rain.
Yes, probably. Tactically, I think he's going to go forward. I think there could be quite a lot of pace in this race, which could suit your closers, your likes of Golden 60s and Namurs. But he's a very likeable horse, the way he's been going about his business at track work, and he's been campaigned with this in mind. I think he'll run his race.
Here he is, Paul, Golden 60, barrier 14, unknown path for him. Comes here first up, unbeaten first up, pride of Hong Kong. He goes back to last on the speed map. There's so many mountains for him to climb, isn't there?
He's going to have to be a champion to win, but I think he is. So that's the thing. You're right. There's a lot of things. I mean, it's been done before. Glorious Days came to Hong Kong. John Sizer's horse, and came into this race fresh and won. So there is a path that's been said it's been done before. He actually drew well. He's got 14 to overcome with. As Maddy said, I think the big key is the pace in the race, and he just might get it to suit.
Right. Wide drawn horses actually can do very well in this race if you look at the last couple of years. So it's not perhaps the kiss of death we might be anticipating, but undoubtedly it's not going to be easy for him.
And this is his most recent trial. That's Romantic Warrior in the blue, and the horse in the orange is Helene Feeling, who won at Happy Valley on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Golden 60 by all reports. He's been training well. I spoke to some of the people involved with him, and a few weeks ago they were saying he looks quite fat and chubby, but that's natural for a horse like him who carries quite a lot of condition. I think connections are happy with him, and it'll be interesting to see how that translates on race day.
All right, well, there's a small field in this replay pool to a big field this week. Voyage Bubble and California Spangle and Healthy Happy in a field of 5. It went a bit silly up front, and the Beauties just sat back and thought, how good is this? Beauty Eternal just cruises up on their outside. Beauty Joy gets very close, and of course, Ryder loses the whip.
Yeah, you can see him lose the whip coming up shortly, and how much that actually, there he goes there, how much it actually panned out, we will never know, but Beauty Eternal just hung on. Voyage Bubble came into this fresh, and look, he's going to come on so much from this run. He's a Derby winner. We know he's a quality horse. So Beauty Eternal should get a good run in the race as well. They're both good chances.
It does make you laugh. Derek loses the whip and the hand stays there like, please come back into the hand. But it didn't happen for him. Limbs Kosciuszko, Dan Maher telling Nick Child through the week, Maddy, that this will be Singapore's last international runner. He's Singapore's best horse, but he does need to find another level to trouble this field, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's very sad, really, that we won't see their like on these shores again. This horse is incredibly likeable. He's done winning from a range of trips and always seems to put his best foot forward. Of course, he ran in the sprint last year. Things didn't go to plan there. The mile probably will suit him better, but this is a really deep race and he's going to need a career best by a long shot.
Yeah, I think he's hard to have him, what we saw last year, even though it was a sprint. And look, he's the best horse in Singapore by miles, but this is a step too far, I thought.
All right, so that's Limbs Kosciuszko. He did fight very hard to win that race. There's not much of him. You've always liked this horse, Paul. Encountered. There he is down on the rail. This is the Sasa Ladies Purse. How much more does he need to improve to figure in Group 1 company?
He's going to have to, unfortunately. I tried to put him in my numbers so hard, but I couldn't get him in the end. He's going to get a perfect run from barrier 1. He's just such an honest horse. Look, he's never liked. He's won here in Hong Kong before at 198 to 1. This horse at the back end of a couple of seasons ago. He just tries hard. He's a really nice horse, but again, I just think this might be a bit tough for him.
All right, that is Encountered, stablemate of Lucky Swayness for Manfred Mann. Now, you don't mind the Japanese contingent here, Maddy, and this is Soul Rush running second, Seraphos 8th, Denon the Kid 5th, and the one you like is near enough to last as we roll the replay, Namur.
Yes, this is really incredible performance from the filly Namur. She was quite highly rated as a young horse, ran some good races, but then got a little bit lost. But her last 2 starts, the Tulip Show and here in the Mile Championship, just look at how she overcomes that interference there from behind horses. And look at this for a change of pace, acceleration. I think we could see her do a similar thing down Shartin Straight on Sunday. Often with these fillies, they get into a rich vein of form, they get into a certain time of year and they just blossom. And I think that could be the case with her. I think we could see a knockout performance from her.
Right. Yeah, she sort of lost her way a little bit throughout her 3-year-old season, but as Maddy says, the back end now forward, and she's won her last 2 starts really impressively, has this horse. So, look, she's got to go in for me, I agree. And the way the race is set up, it's going to suit her. Seraphos got lost in that race. He got to the front too early and gawked around, and I don't think that's going to happen in this race. I think he looks a lot more suited here at Shartin.
All right, Namur with the 16 saddlecloth on had a wide draw in that race too, so that was in Japan last time. Here's Cairo now, Paul. This is the latest of the Aidan O'Brien team, leading up here in the Knockair Stakes, but just gets caught and ends up running 3rd.
Yeah, he ends up 3rd. Again, another one that hasn't been sort of blessed by the barrier draws has Cairo. He's ended up drawing barrier number 9. Look, it was a good run here. You know, he's up against some of the top horses and stayed on well enough for 3rd.
I think this would have been a prep for him, and he's an interesting horse because he's always been highly regarded by Aidan O'Brien. He was taken out to Dubai for the UAE Derby on dirt, and he actually went off favourite for that race, didn't figure in the end. But it's not a surprise that he's brought him here, given the high regard he holds him in. I do think he's going to need more, but he could yet show it.
OK, and finally, we go back to Japan here, Maddy. This is Davina, who has really not been talked about at all this week. She's run 7th, and this is 7th in the QE2 Cup, Grade 1 level over 2,200 metres.
Yeah, she can be a little bit in and out. If you look through her form, she's probably got work to do with some of the protagonists here. I certainly prefer Namur over her. However, she did go into my four because the trainer, Yamamichi, has an excellent record in these races. And she's, as you say, gone under the radar, but stays on nicely. And I think she's going to be produced perfectly for this race on Sunday.
Yeah, and she's been working well, hasn't she? You were out there Tuesday and managed to see her run really well there. So, look, she didn't quite make it in, but I can totally... She'd be one that wouldn't surprise me anyway if she ran well.
You can never discount these Japanese horses. As you say, even the second sort of string, maybe not the top ones. Yep. They've got such depth in talent.
Yep. So that is a look at the replays on the mile. Have you two brought in a disguise? Because neither of you are tipping Golden 60 on top. You may not get out of this building alive.
Oh, it'd be magnificent, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think he's going to have a big task on hand on Sunday.
Absolutely. Who do you like, Maddy?
It's Namur for me, the Mile Championship winner last time. We saw that replay. She looked exceptional there. She's coming into her own skin. I like what I've seen on track with her this week. I do think Golden 60 is going to run a big race from his wide draw. The pace setup will help him, but it will also help Namur. The other one I put in is Beauty Eternal, who won by the skin of his teeth last time. Strong travelling horse. Zach Purton gets on particularly well with him. I could see him running a career best. And then the last one we saw there, Davina, she just scrapes in.
I think we've got the Japanese covered. So I'm going to go with one of the other ones here, which is Seraphos. I don't think the race was run to suit last time. He should get a really nice run. Voyage Bubble, with that run under his belt, agree totally with about Namur, and it couldn't leave Golden 60 out. As you say, I want to get out of the building alive. But and he could get the race run to suit and just swoop down the outside. So couldn't leave him out. 4, 10, 13 and 1.
That is the preview for the Longines Hong Kong Mile. Golden 60 looking to win his 3rd mile. California Spangle, he's been completely forgotten about. He's looking for back-to-back wins in the race.